trend going around a lot on TikTok recently, and I think it's really cool, but TikTok isn't necessarily my platform, so I figured I would bring it over to YouTube. We can do our makeup together, and I can expose myself a little bit. The deal is, I will give you one random fact about my life for every step in my makeup routine, and if you guys want to play along, you can comment down below some facts of your own. That would be kind of fun. We could just have a little conversation in the comments, but let's do it. My name is Danielle, although I'm sure most of you already know that. Most people, especially in my personal life, call me Danny, although I do have quite a few other nicknames. They include Dan, Dans, Dee Dee, Deedle, Daniel. A lot of people in college, especially my guy friends, also called me by my last name. Contrary to popular belief, my last name is not Jordan. Jordan is actually my middle name. I've never shared my last name on the internet, mainly for privacy reasons, and I think we're gonna keep it that way. What's the cap to this thing? Hello? The other day I asked my mom what my name would have been if she didn't name me Danielle Jordan, and the answers were either Kendall Ray or Noel Ray. Ray is a family name, so that was gonna be in there in some way, shape, or form, although it did end up going to my brother. I really like the name Kendall Ray, but I think I'm very much a Danielle Jordan, so it feels fitting. For those of you who are into astrology, I am a Cancer sun. My birthday's on July 6th. I have a Scorpio rising and a Sagittarius moon. I really like astrology. I think it's fun, and I definitely resonate with some of the things that people say about my big three, although I don't think that all of it is 100% accurate. I've had this YouTube channel that you're watching since 2013, when I was in 8th grade. And oddly enough, my original concept for this channel was not to vlog or talk about beauty and fashion. Instead, it was to do the cup song. Like, wait. Something like that. 2 different songs. And I really thought that that was a sustainable idea for a YouTube channel, and thank God my brother talked me out of it. But shortly after that, I discovered Bethany Moda and quickly became obsessed. I went to a meetup at the mall for her. I bought things from her clothing line, and I even had a fan page on Twitter. I was very much a Bethany Moda stan, still am to this day. I think she's fantastic, and she was the main inspiration behind this YouTube channel. Okay, and my original username for this channel was Blush for Beauty XX. And there are still people in my personal life who call me Blush for Beauty because it was around for that long. And the way I got that name was not through any creative, like it had zero meaning. I literally, the day that I wanted to start my YouTube channel, I looked up on Yahoo Answers YouTube channel names for makeup lovers, and Blush for Beauty was the first one on the list. So we stuck with it and we ran with it, and it was like that for like 5 years, 6 years. I was definitely a very interesting kid growing up. While other 6-year-old toddler girls were sitting around watching princess movies and Barbie movies, I was not really doing that. And I think a lot of it might have to do with the fact that my parents didn't really expose me to those things as much as they did early 2000s pop music. And one of my mom's favorite stories to tell about me is in one of my first ever dance classes. So I must have been like 4 years old. My teacher went around and asked the class who their favorite Disney princess was. And all the little girls were like, I love Cinderella, I love Snow White. And when they got to me, I looked at my teacher and I said, Britney Spears. And I think that says a lot about who I am just as a person. And then when I said that, the entire class started laughing at me and I started crying. So some things never change. I've always been a pretty sensitive kid. Okay, we're gonna look a little crazy for a sec, but hang in there. It'll all come together. Speaking of dance, I have been performing since I was around 5 years old. Hip hop has always been my main thing, although I've kind of run the gamut of all different types of dance. I've pretty much done everything under the sun, but when I was in 5th grade, I started taking classes at a performing arts school, which means I started starring in musical theater productions twice a year from 5th grade to senior year of high school. My favorite role that I've ever played, and also the role that nobody can ever seem to believe that I've played, is Elle Woods in Legally Blonde. I did it with a terrible blonde wig at all, and it was definitely one of the more challenging roles that I've ever had to play, simply because throughout the entirety of the show, I think Elle is not on stage, maybe a total of 3 times, and otherwise I was singing and dancing and delivering all of these lines. How I memorized it is beyond me, but it was definitely a lot of fun. Guys, I am not kidding when I say that the wig was terrible. I will insert a picture if I can, but it'll also require me blowing up the spot of one of my friends. So sorry, because it's probably gonna end up being my friend Jared, because I know the picture I'm thinking of. The wig was awful. I fully credit theater to my very, very strange and specific memory. I have never really been the best with names, although I am really good at faces, but the one thing that my brain cannot seem to let go of is the random facts that people will tell me about their lives. Like, I kid you not, if you tell me your aunt's cousin's dog's name, I will remember that for the rest of my life. And it's definitely a blessing and a curse. I think when I will recall facts about my friends, it can make them feel valued because they're like, damn, Danny actually listens when I talk, but sometimes I'll say things in front of people that I'm not that close to, and that's when it gets pretty fucking creepy. Growing up, I've never really been a person to have a massive friend group. I've always been a 4 quarters over 100 pennies type person. And I think at the beginning, it wasn't really intentional. It just wasn't that cool in middle school to have like a massive friend group. But as I've gotten older, it's become incredibly intentional. I only want to surround myself with people that I find like add value to my life. I think that's a good way to put it. And people that I know are actually loyal and genuinely good friends. Like I said, growing up, I wasn't the coolest or the cutest kid by any means, and I think one definitely affected the other. I think I've made up for it over time, but damn, middle school was tough, and I think the main reason was because I have always struggled with growing and gaining weight. I have a very, very fast metabolism. I get it from my dad, and it was something that really affected me all throughout middle school and high school, which leads me to one of my favorite stories that I like to tell people. I want to say that this took place when I was in 8th grade, because that's when I really started going to doctors, trying to figure out what the hell was going on with me. And one of the doctors that I went to was a nutritionist. And I went to this nutritionist, mind you, with my dad. My dad is 6'4". The man is a giant. And my mom, just for context, is 5'6". Not super tall, but not short by any means. And I went to this nutritionist. She did her fancy schmancy tests, and she came back to us and she said, sir, she talked to my dad. She's like, sir, your daughter will be lucky if she hits 5 feet tall. Because at the time I was 4'11". And my dad was, ma'am, that's not possible. That's simply not possible. And she was like, sir, I'm just looking at her graphs. She's done growing. And my dad was like, this is bullshit. Like, there's no way. And lo and behold, within the next few years, I grew, you could say a little bit. And now I am 5'8". So because of all of that, I don't think I really had my, glow up, if you want to call it that, until college, which was also the same time that I started getting attention from guys for the first time, which was definitely a bit of a culture shock for me. So I am 24 years old now, and I've never had a boyfriend. And honestly, I'm not in much of a rush at all. I think part of that is because a lot of my friends are also single, so we're all just out here having fun together. But at this point, I have unintentionally waited this long. I'm not just gonna rush into something to say that I'm in a relationship. I've been having so much fun dating in New York City and learning what I like and don't like in different guys, so I'm not at the point where I wanna settle. I know that I've learned so much about myself and just dating in general in the past year that I've lived in New York, and I will get to the point where I meet somebody who kind of checks all the boxes, or the metaphorical boxes, because it's not like I have a list, but I know that when that day comes, I'll be so happy. But in the meantime, I'm not in the business to rush anything. My family is Dominican, Irish, and German. My mom's side is Dominican, my dad's side is Irish and German, although my mom's side has always been a little bit more of a wild card, so much so where recently she decided to do 23andMe, one of those tests where you can find out exactly what percentage your family comes from. And we recently discovered that we are, I believe I'm getting this right, if not my mom will correct me, we are a higher percentage from the Congo in Central Africa than we are from Dominican Republic. the more you know. I definitely have always felt super connected to my Dominican culture. I think it probably has a lot to do with the fact that my mom's side of the family lives in New York, so I'm able to see them a lot more often. But I did grow up speaking Spanish. At this point, I would like to consider myself nearly fluent, and a large part of that is because I lived with my grandma for a little bit, and we also had a live-in nanny, and she is from Colombia, and she only spoke Spanish, so made it pretty hard to not learn eventually. One thing that has always been at the very top of my bucket list is going to Giraffe Manor in Kenya. I've wanted to go to Giraffe Manor ever since I saw a picture of it on probably Tumblr. Giraffes have always been my favorite animal. I love them so much. I think that they are adorable, and I've yet to meet one in person, and Giraffe Manor just looks absolutely stunning. So in an ideal world, that is like the top bucket list place that I would be able to go within the next few years. I've never been much of a tattoo person, but around this time last year, I did get my first tattoo. Nobody ever notices it because it is super small, which is honestly what I love most about it. I have a little 1111 on my arm right around here. It's in red ink, super small, and essentially 111 is the angel number that I see pretty much everywhere I go, always have ever since I was younger. And I also post all of my YouTube videos at 1111. And as for other things on my body, I have a scar on my, is it on the side? Yeah. I have a scar on the side of my face that's kind of hard to see when I have makeup on, that I got when I was probably 4 years old, and I asked to share this girl's Barbies and she said no and scratched me across the face. And I also have a birthmark on my back that is shaped like a heart. Kind of cute. So that wraps up the makeup and all of my random facts. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, let me know, and I'll talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye!